Hello, it's Health Coach Gayle of Y Powered Health Coaching. And I'd like to talk to you about self care related to healthy meal prep in 10 simple steps. One framing axiom that I'd like you to take to heart when you're thinking about making healthier food choices is this: try not to be fast, easy, or fake. We can simplify it in this way. And, there's so much health and wellness advice and information out there, and it's hard to kind of cut through the noise. And I think this is an easy way to do it. When we slow down and focus our efforts on whole foods, real foods, our health really can soar. I always encourage my clients to eat the rainbow. And I offer this graphic sort of tongue in cheek because one time when I asked one of my coaching clients what came to mind for him when I said eat the rainbow, he jokingly answered Skittles, and we had a good laugh. And of course, that wasn't the real answer. But when we think about vibrant whole foods, the foods that don't come with any ingredient label at all, because it's just one thing, the things that keep us most alive and nourish us the most, foods that are bright, like the rainbow, and things that are found in the perimeter of grocery stores or the farmer's market or in a farmer's field. Those are the foods that are the most nourishing. And we think about just the range of colors, like when we're thinking about choosing lettuce, we have iceberg lettuce, which is not very vibrant at all. And when we think about the other end of the spectrum, like the spinach and the kales, which are much brighter and darker, much more full of nutrients, that's a really good example. Uh, in a nutritional analysis of iceberg versus spinach and kale, 1 cup of iceberg is compared to, excuse me, 1 cup of spinach is about the same to about 14 cups of iceberg lettuce in terms of nutrients. So it really packs a punch if we're talking about the spinach and kales. So looking for those whole foods to keep us feeling highest levels of energy and keeping our immune system strong and keeping us well. But if you think too how often we get triggered and sucked into eating processed convenience foods, we're so often driven by our taste buds. And it can be a journey to reorient our taste buds as we're trying to eat more and more whole foods and minimizing the processed convenience foods in our diets. And it's not realistic to think that we're going to be perfect in the journey, but a good ratio to aim for is 85% whole foods, 15% processed convenience foods. And if you simply look for the label instant on any kind of foods, that's a really good and obvious symbol for processed convenience foods. But reading labels, looking for those ingredients that you would never find in a pantry, things you cannot pronounce, that's a really good sign as well as an ultra processed foods. So letting your wisdom be a guide and thinking forward to your health and thinking a little bit past your taste buds. But the good news is we live in a time when taste and health can really come in the same space. We don't have to choose one over the other. Healthy doesn't need to mean that it's tasteless or that it tastes like cardboard. It used to mean that a long time ago, but we've come a long, long way in that regard, thankfully. But no, as you begin to eat less of the processed foods and more of the whole foods, your taste buds are going to reorient to that like a compass, and you'll learn to enjoy the whole foods more and more. And as you do, those processed ones are going to taste more and more fake and just not very good to you. So be patient with yourself in the journey. So before I jump into the tips about healthy meal prep, it's a really good time to check in on your mindset your thoughts and knowing your why about why you want to prioritize healthy meal prep, because setting yourself up for success and understanding what might get in your way, the obstacles, the way you're thinking about prioritizing it, is so critical because we, and I speak about that generally, we tend to be our own biggest saboteur. That's true of every human. And so, if we understand what our real deep internal motivation is for wanting to change, that is critical for being successful. And if you are not currently working with me and you want to understand what your why is for getting healthier, um, please get in touch. I would love to help you understand that deeply, because when we really know it, that internal motivation is like rocket fuel for the journey. So instead of relying on external things to motivate us, like a scale or something else, if we find it internally, it's much, much more sustainable. So after we understand that internal motivation, we can dive into the executional parts of things, the how and the what of the journey. So 10 tips. The first one, starting with building the plan. So the first part of this is taking the time each week to build your meals, or at least a few key ones. And this doesn't mean you have to plan each and every single meal, but having a few key dishes or ingredients ready to help you, thinking about like breakfast, lunch, and dinners, which ones are the most important meals to you, but even snacks, and planning ahead and um, is going to help you make the grocery shopping experience more efficient. And shopping smart is the second tip. Whoops. And this would involve creating a grocery list based on your meal plan. And then when you're actually in the grocery store or if you're shopping online, um, sticking with the fresh produce, meats if you're a meat eater, the dairy, but minimizing the processed convenience stuff. And uh, if you would like to get a copy of my tip sheet for healthier grocery shopping, I'd be happy to share it with you. Just reach out, and that can be really helpful. Tip number 3, preparing for flexibility, or as I like to say, sempre gumby. So preparing ingredients that you can use in a lot of different dishes, whether those are spices or something else. But an example might be roasting veggies and grains that can be combined into salads, wraps, bowls, stir fries, depending on whatever the mood might strike you. But kind of finding things that can be multitasked. For example, I love wraps, and I have kind of go-to fillings that I use um, across the board. They are um, uh, plant-based cream cheeses, avocado, and tahini. And I will use those and just vary it depending on my mood. But those are kind of standard, and I always have them on hand. Tip number 4, starting small. So if you're new to meal prepping, not trying to dive in too deeply, and just starting with a few key meals or snacks for the week and then building from that. And then as you get more comfortable with the process, you can expand. Tip 5, batch cooking. So an example of this would be choosing a recurring day to do some batch cooking. A lot of people choose Sunday because there seems to be more time and people tend to be a little bit more relaxed on that day, but preparing several meals at once. And you can cook larger portions of maybe a protein, grains, and veggies, and then store them in the containers to mix and match during the week. And this can save a lot of time and ensure that you always have something ready. Tip 6 is to keep things simple. You don't need gourmet meals to eat healthfully and or even to be satisfied. Simple dishes with a protein, veggie, and whole grain can be enough. Just focusing on quick, balanced, and nutrient-dense dishes is enough. Tip number 7, investing in good containers. And I think this is really important because if you have good quality, stackable containers, that can help keep your meals organized and fresh for the week. I really strongly recommend glass containers over plastic because number one, they don't stain or retain odors, and but especially they don't leach any uh, toxins that come from plastic. Tip number 8, use time-saving appliances, and this is different for everyone. For me, I have an air fryer, and I don't use a microwave much, but some people do. Some people use Instapots or slow cookers, but it really is an individual preference. But this can save time on your batch cooking day. Tip number 7 is to remember to plan for healthy snacks. Pre-packing them, things like veggies and hummus, fruit, nuts, yogurt, having these readily available will keep you from reaching for less nutritious options when you do get hungry between meals. And the final tip is staying organized, having a system, labeling containers with dates to ensure that you're using older meals first, and organizing your fridge and freezer and pantry to make it easier to grab what you need when you are hungry. So I hope these tips help you, and know that you don't have to go alone. Um, One of my axioms as a coach is that together we can. It's much easier in the journey when you have a partner for accountability, support, and encouragement. So I'd love to be that for you. Reach out. I'd love to have a conversation about how you can go further in your journey to healthier, whether it's a return to your happy weight or just improving your wellness. I'm Health Coach Gayle, Y Part Health Coaching. Take good care now. Bye.